comes to no surprise that one of the biggest debates people have while shopping for a Tesla Model 3 is which trim should they get, because after all, each trim has their own advantages and disadvantages and also differ quite a bit in price. However, the biggest concern sometimes is not only the price, but range instead, and we call this range anxiety. So after owning my Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus for about 7 months now, do I still think there's enough range in the car, and did I manage to get over range anxiety? Stay tuned. What's poppin', what's Gucci, you guys? If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Like I said in the beginning of the video, range anxiety is real and it is a major concern people have, especially for those who recently took delivery of their new Tesla, regardless of whether it's a Model 3 or any of the other models. And to be completely honest, I even had some concerns about the range in my Tesla Model 3 SR Plus as well. Okay, I'll just say, I had range anxiety but didn't last very long, and I'll tell you why later on in the video. So in today's video, we'll begin by touching on what range anxiety really is, then we'll go over some real life examples of how far your Tesla can go with or without charging, and lastly, we'll look into some tips on how to cure range anxiety. But before we get started with today's video, make sure to smash the like button if you have heard of range anxiety and or have it. And don't worry, you can tell me if you have it, I won't tell anybody, so just smash the like button right there until it turns blue. Should be like down there somewhere. Did you find it? Press it. Okay. Anyways, let's get started with the video. So range anxiety, what exactly is this? Well, according to the dictionary, it's worry on the part of a person driving an electric car that the battery will run out of power before the destination or a suitable charging point is reached. Now what we have to look at is, why does this term exist? Why is it one of the biggest barriers to large-scale adoption of electric vehicles? I can only speculate on this, but my thoughts begin with the fact that electric vehicles are still a fairly new concept to many consumers out there. And the only reason why I'm able to make these videos and why I was so confident in buying my Tesla Model 3 is because of other Tesla owners out there who have adapted to this new concept. They are the ones who have spread the word of the new mode of transportation in the future. And that's why I'm talking to you guys today, to do the same thing. As humans, we're susceptible to stay complacent because that's what we're most comfortable with. And because Teslas are 100% electric, that worry of not being able to go to a gas station and fill up your car is one of the reasons why range anxiety exists. In a regular ICE car, you can find a gas station nearly anywhere in the world and you can just pull up and fill up your car, but with an electric vehicle, it's a little bit different. What happens when you run out of range in a Tesla? What if there's no charger around where I live? How far can I go with charging and without charging? All of these questions are pretty common questions for both current owners and future owners. Heck, I had these questions too before and after I got my Tesla. It's one thing to read about the stats in a car and another thing when it comes to owning it and experiencing it firsthand. Before I got my Tesla Model 3, I was like, 250 miles of range, I hope that can last me throughout the week. But after owning this car for about 7 months, I am as confident in the range as ever. You know what? Let's take a road trip right now so I can prove it to you. Actually, that probably wouldn't be a good idea right now, but you get the point. Let's talk about charging your Tesla now and how far a single charge can get you. In the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, it's advertised to have 250 miles of range, but do you actually get that kind of mileage in the car? The answer is yes and no. Let me explain. Based on historical data from Tesla's current battery packs, show about a 5% capacity degradation after 50,000 miles. And the capacity levels off for about another 150,000 miles or so before coming close to hitting 90% capacity, meaning after 200,000 miles driven on the vehicle, the max capacity of the battery will hold up to 220 miles of range. I know that sounds pretty scary, but honestly it's not a major concern, and Tesla's already doing an excellent job on producing these batteries and making it as efficient as possible. And if you think about it relative to a regular ICE car, it makes sense because whether it's a Tesla or a regular ICE car, you just won't get the same kind of fuel economy after driving the car for 200,000 miles. You just won't. But if that's not enough to reassure you, there is one more thing that you could do to optimize the results and have the healthiest battery possible. And it's really quite simple. Just don't charge your car up to 100% too often. So basically the science behind this is that frequent full charges can negatively impact the lithium-ion battery cells, and that's why Tesla only recommends charging up to 80 or 90% for your daily commutes and reserving that 100% full charge for when you're going on long road trips, like if you were going down from the Bay Area all the way down to LA, which is something I want to do, by the way, when this pandemic subsides. But anyways, this leads back to what I was saying earlier, and based off of all this information, you're more likely to get around 200 to 225 miles of range for your daily commuting, given the fact that you want to optimize your battery for the best results. So to answer the question of do you really get 250 miles of range in a single charge, Technically, the answer is no. With that being said, these numbers are about 100 miles of range different than compared to when I used to own a BMW, which provided me with over 300 miles of range. So how did I manage to adapt to a car that had 33% less range? This leads us to how I was able to cure my range anxiety. Full disclaimer, I'm no doctor, but I was able to cure my own range anxiety, and most of the medicine was from real life experience of just owning the car for several months. And I think the biggest factor that really built up my confidence of being able to drive anywhere without running out of range is the fact that I'm not taking extremely long road trips every single day. I mean, think about it. An average commute is what, around 30 miles or so every single day? And realistically, only a small percentage of drivers are utilizing more than 100 miles of round-trip travel per day. And if you're one of those drivers, then yeah, the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus may not be the perfect car for you, but then again, you have another 100 miles or so by the time you get home, so it could very well be the perfect car for you, especially if you're working with a budget. But taking a look back at an average driver like me, when shelter in place was not in effect, I was driving around 30 to 40 miles round trip per day, and that was more than enough to last me a couple of days before I had to charge my Tesla again. Yes, a couple of days meaning I did not have to charge my Tesla every single night, which is another fact people get caught up on. Now let's elaborate on this. Range anxiety is one of those things that make people want to charge the car every single night, and while you certainly can, you don't have to. But if charging your car after you get home is something that will help with your range anxiety, by all means, plug that baby in. You see, there's so many things to consider and learn to help with range anxiety, and I guess the last tip that I can give you guys to help with range anxiety is to just think about all the available chargers in the area. You know, like your local EV chargers that you can find at a grocery store or something, your superchargers, your destination chargers, and if you have friends and family that live around you, you can charge at their place as well. If there are any situations where you need to charge your car last minute, there are plenty of options to select from. For example, superchargers and destination chargers may be found through your Tesla's touchscreen or Tesla's website, and you can find all sorts of local EV chargers through apps on your smartphone, for example like PlugShare, ChargePoint, and a couple of other good ones, so it's a really good idea to download them. So again, I've got to admit, I was a little concerned at first if I had made the right choice in buying my Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, due to the fact that it only had 250 miles of range, but after owning this car for about 7 months now, I really got a chance to learn about this car, and ultimately get the experience of being a Tesla owner with this car. So while I questioned myself originally if I had made the right choice, I know that I did in the end. There's more than enough range in the car, and there's more than enough wow factors in this car, so I'm really happy with my purchase. So for everyone looking into getting a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, rest assured, because even though range anxiety is real, there are plenty of ways to get over it. And a really good first step is to just take a look at your daily commute, calculate how many miles you're going to be traveling, then figure out your charging situation, and then lastly, just take a look at all of your available charging resources close to your area. Alright guys, I'm going to end today's video here. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel because I got a lot more coming for you guys. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.